Yo, what's up? It's your boy Buff Lars. I'm back with another video. It's not going to be a long one. It's just my thoughts about season 3 Lars. I do want to make a quick apology about the previous video on the moments where I was eating, because it didn't even cross my mind when I made the video about me eating, and then when I see the comments saying why would you eat when you're trying to explain things. That's my bad, so I apologize about that. I don't make videos that often, so I was just like casually just sitting in my room, just rambling away. It was like 40-minute long video. I got a little hungry, so that's my bad. But I want to talk about Lars today because I've been getting a lot of comments and questions online and offline about, is Lars viable? Is he top tier? Is he still low tier? And I just want to give my thoughts now that season 3 has been going on for a while, and they said like some balance changes are probably going to be on the way soon before the tour starts. So getting right into the video, how do I feel about Lars in season 3? Well, is Lars still a low tier character? In technicality, I would say yes, but if you're an online player and you strictly play online, then I don't understand why you care so much about tiers, because it doesn't really affect you. I mean I can understand when Leroy was really busted and people just hated fighting him because he was just stupid. I can understand that, but Lars being low tier, Lars being high tier, that doesn't mean anything when it comes to playing online, in my opinion. When it comes to offline, I mean, Lars is low tier, but you can still win with Lars offline. You can win tournaments with him. I mean, it doesn't. Your chances of winning with Lars in a tournament aren't as high, but there's no real character that wins every tournament right now. Like, people are just winning with anyone that wasn't Leroy before he got nerfed. So I don't really think tiers matter that much. Just in a general viewpoint of offline, I mean, I can understand at the highest level of play, players want to use characters that have more tools. Like JD Sarah was trying out Armor King, and he's like, you know what, Armor King's not really working for me, so he stopped using Armor King. But when it comes to just like the regional, national level, like you could use Lars. Lars is viable in a regional, national level, in my opinion. And why do I think that? Well, he has basic pokes, he has simple combos, his whiff punishment is one of the best he has some of the best whiff punishment in the game, he has some of the best block punishment in the game. He has simple, his mix-ups are so-so, but they're enough to work with. So I mean, like, he's a simple character. He's not hard to pick up. He doesn't have a high execution barrier that will prevent you from doing what you want to do in every scenario. And if you just think of like some factors, like one of the biggest factors about playing offline is human error, in my opinion. And like, human error could be a bunch of different things, like adjusting to the monitor at your scene, at the tournament that you're at, how you're feeling mentally while you're playing, how much execution does your combos require. Like, in my opinion, since I've been playing offline for like 3 years now, I feel like you want to be more simple than more technical when you're playing. Obviously, you want to have the good movement. You want to have like what's the word I'm looking for? You don't want to drop combos and stuff like that. And with Lars, it's kind of hard to drop his combos since they're so easy. But if you compare Lars to like playing Kazuya, excuse me, I'm sorry, I yawned right there, I apologize. Kazuya, his combos are way harder than Lars, so Kazuya would probably hard to play offline if you're not consistent with his combos compared to Lars. So Lars is definitely a viable character offline. And then the other thing is that when you're playing offline, you only need to win 2 games to win a set, 3 games at the most. So you're telling me that, I mean, I can understand in a really long set, like in a first to 10, then yeah, you'll start seeing the struggles of being a Lars main. But like in a first to two and first to three, I feel like that's not enough time for someone to get the download on everything that Lars can do. And then it also comes down to how you're using him and the time and switching up your timings with Lars and your options. So it comes down more for the player than the character. Whenever I lose, I don't say to myself I lost because I played Lars, because if I really had that mentality, I would have dropped Lars a long time ago. And I've messed around with a bunch of different characters so far in Tekken 7, but I'm still a Lars main after all this time. Like, Lars is still my best character, even though like I've messed around with Miguel, especially in season 2 before Miguel got nerfed. I've been messing around with Ganryu, messing around with Bob, Shaheen, Claudio, messing around with all these characters, and they're all better than Lars on paper, but still a Lars main after all this time. And then when you think about it, I never thought Lars was a broken character since he came out in Tekken. And before people think that I'm just sounding crazy and I'm capping and stuff like that, we gotta think about what made Lars broken in Tag 2 and T6. And in T6 and Tag 2, like, he had up forward threes ridiculous, like, sure you can basically it was like a DP. It's not like that anymore. And then he had down forward 2, but now it's a full crouch move. So they dealt with the 2 problem moves, but when you deal with the 2 moves that were carrying Lars, then I don't really think that was like, I guess they were really oppressive moves, but at the same time, I don't think it was enough to make Lars like this ultra god character. I just don't see it, because they nerfed those 2 moves, but then with season 3 Lars, they've been buffing everything outside of those moves. So like season 3 Lars in Tekken 7 is probably the best version of Lars in like any installment of Tekken. This is easily the best version of Lars. Like season 3 Lars right now would walk circles around T6 Lars and Tag 2 Lars, because all they had was up forward 3 and down forward 2. That's it. He's always had bad tracking issues. I mean, like, his pokes have been the same since the game came out. Maybe back one, I think back one had a little bit more range in previous games, but that's not even that big of a deal, because even with Lars back one, people don't care. They're still going to sidestep you. You can throw out back one like 4 times in a row. Is that going to stop the opponent from sidestepping? No. So like Lars still has the same issues he's had in every game, but look at what Lars all has now. Like, counter hit launcher on 441+2, and that's kind of because of, instead of doing bounds, they do screws, because in previous games, like silent entry down forward 1 used to be a combo extender, forward back 2-1 used to be a combo extender and still a launcher. Like, forward back 2-1, if people don't know what a bound is, if I can do the move, when you get hit by like that animation right there at the end, that's what a bound is. If you're new, if you didn't play T6 or Tag 2, so Lars was a character designed to have good combos in the system, but then they switched the combo system up, which was like a nerf indirectly to Lars, unfortunately. But even with that indirect nerf, Lars still has some of the best wall carry he's ever had in T7 compared to Tekken 6 and Tekken Tag 2. Lars was never able to go from dynamic entry into silent entry in previous games. He was never able to do that. Lars didn't have a low from dynamic entry before. He has better mix-ups now because he can do dynamic entry to silent entry. He has a power crush from silent entry, which is a launcher. He has a 1-1-1 is a counter hit, wall splat, counter hit, get off me move. It never did that in previous games. Never did that. So season 3 Lars right now is easily the best version of Lars, but he's still a low tier character. But then so why was he top tier in these other games? It's because the other characters just didn't have enough tools to compete with Lars. In my opinion, they just didn't have the tools to compete with him. But now in Tekken 7, most characters in this game are probably like the best versions of themselves that they ever been. So basically all the legacy characters that were worse than Lars caught up to Lars or ascended Lars. So that's why Lars is low tier. And then all the new characters in the game, they all were all easy to pick up, and they just had better tools to work with than Lars. And like Devilgen and Lars lightning screws used to be like the really oppressive crushing tool that would crush like crazy. But like, let's look at all the new characters that they put in the game. Like Claudio, hop kick. Josie, hop kick. Katarina, hop kick. Kazumi, hop kick. Lucky Chloe, hop kick. And it's not that they just have hop kick. Shaheen, hop kick. Like, you see where the theme is going. Like, every new character in the game, they all have hop kicks, and they all have some of the best crushing in the game. Like Shaheen's hop kick, ridiculous crushing. Kazumi's probably the only character out of all of them that doesn't have stupid crushing on their hop kick. Lucky Chloe has some of the dumbest crushing on her hop kick. Josie can be like, she could do switch stance. I think it's switch stance 2, which is like -8 on block, and if you throw out a jab, she can hop kick under you. And even without her hop kick, Josie has down forward too. Katarina has some of the best hop kick range in the game, and it's 2 hits, so like you don't even get a good punish off her when you block it. And then Claudio, of course, we don't even need to talk about Claudio's hop kick. They just rebuffed his hop kick when they nerfed it. So all these new characters in Tekken 7 were better than Lars, and like we don't need to talk about Leroy. We already know about Leroy, except for like Negan. Negan started out pretty bad, but I'd say Negan's better than Lars now. But all these new characters, we don't need to talk about Noctis. 2D characters, it's pretty simple. They all just started out with better tools than Lars, and they had safer panic options than Lars. So it's not that Lars got so much worse, it's just everyone else got really better. It's like if you play League of Legends, it's basically a scenario where a champion gets power crept out the meta because there's just so many better characters to use. So there's no point in using Lars, for example. That's why people don't play Lars, because why play Lars when you can just play just like anyone else in the cast that has decent pokes, decent punishment, but they still have like they have an identity outside of that. Like every character in this game have some type of identity outside of just like pokes. But when it comes to Lars, it's honestly just like pokes, movement, and punishment. That's about it. So that's why I think that's why Lars is so low, because everyone just like caught up to him and ascended over him. I don't think it's more like he has no tools to work with. Because his tools back in the day were some of the best tools in the game, but now his tools now are just like bad tools. The only way Lars would be busted in this game, or like top tier in this game, is if like his counter hits got updated. Like if down 2 was a counter hit launcher, which would never happen because Leroy down 1+2 was just a counter hit launcher, and they nerfed that. If back 4 was just a counter hit launcher instead of a counter hit throw, so when you get trades you would get a counter hit launcher every time, that would be a good buff. If they did something about standing 3 and standing 4, because those moves are absolutely useless. Lars, like, they would have to change a lot of properties on Lars' move list if they wanted to make him top tier in this game, in my opinion. So when people ask me, hey, like, I'm picking up the game, should I play Lars? Yeah, I think you should play Lars, because his fundamentals will teach you how to play the game better. And then once you decide to move on from Lars, you don't have to worry about fundamentals. Then you can just focus on all the intricate, I can't even speak. I can't even say it. All the like the fine details of whatever character you're using, because then you'll have the fundamentals down. So yeah, I think that's like the main point I just wanted to get across today. So I thank you guys for your time, and I'll catch you guys later in the next video.